Photographs from a passenger aboard Continental Flight 128 show the ceiling of the plane split open. Two sections you can see in this shot look like casings for several oxygen masks. One witness says this damage may have been done by passengers who were thrown upward.
Yeah, all the lighting and all where the masks come down and everything, people that weren't seatbelted in flew up and hit the ceiling. So their faces, their heads hit the plastics and broke all the plastics up at the top.
The plane with 179 people aboard encountered severe turbulence on the way from Rio de Janeiro to Houston and diverted to Miami. 26 passengers were hurt. Some required at least temporary hospitalization. CNN meteorologist Chad Myers says there was no severe weather in the area at the time. And a Continental Airlines official now tells CNN this aircraft encountered what's called clear air turbulence. Pilots we spoke to say this is when a plane gets caught between air masses moving swiftly in different directions. As the name indicates, it often happens when the weather looks fine, and it comes on with virtually no warning.
So as the pilots are transiting this area, they're not seeing anything on the radar, they're not seeing anything visually that gives them reason to believe that they're getting ready to penetrate an area with clear air turbulence.
Pilots say during these events, passengers not wearing seatbelts can get severely injured when G-forces throw them to the ceiling. They can stay pinned on the ceiling even for a few seconds, then could get injured by being thrown back down onto seats or the floor. Now, after landing in Miami, some passengers said they got no warning to buckle their seatbelts when the heavy turbulence began. Continental said the seatbelt sign was illuminated, and their procedure is to give a verbal warning when that happens. A Continental official just told me they are still gathering information, but, quote, there's every reason to believe a verbal warning was given in this instance.
And Brian, is there any kind of clear takeaway, a lesson from this when you see that kind of video and this experience these guys went through?
Yeah, we spoke with several pilots today, and they say if you don't have to move around inside the cabin, stay seated with your seatbelt fastened. One pilot told me that these seatbelts in planes are what he called G-stress. They're tested against several G-forces. He says if your seat is bolted to the floor, you're going to stay in your seat through some of the worst turbulence if your seatbelt is on and fastened.
So wear your seatbelt. Okay, thank you, Brian. Well, a bittersweet end to a mystery that haunted one family for almost 2 decades. The disappearance of a Navy pilot shot down at the start of the Gulf War. Now remains found buried in the Iraqi desert have been positively identified as those of Captain Scott Spiker. CNN's John Zarella is in his hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. John, how are the